Good morning. This is Scott Cullen. I'm the editor-in-chief of the Cannata Report. It is so great to be here with you this morning. It's another episode of Fridays with Frank. Before I bring out Frank, don't forget, like, subscribe, comment, and send Frank your questions. So Frank, how you doing today and what's on your mind?
I got my first question from a dealer. Thank you, Lynn Pickford, Precision Copy Products in Clairton, Pennsylvania. Carol and I were very fortunate at the last Sharp dealer meeting. As we sat down for dinner, Lynn was there with one of the people that works for her, and forgive me, I don't remember her name, but she was just lovely young lady, and she owns the business, and she's doing a great job. We had a wonderful discussion. My question is, when is it a good time in the business model to consider a second line? What are the upsides and what are the downsides? Great question, Lynn. Dedication has always been an advantage for a dealer, and I can go back 40 years and show you or give you copies of things that are where we were encouraging dealers, be dedicated, stick to one line. Why? Number one, in the early days, those machines were not that dependable. Let's put it that way. Required a lot of service and required very, very capable service people. They basically, you needed one technician to support 40 machines in the field. And that's what it was. In fact, that's how the early dealers built their model. What they said to their customers, we don't make these, we repair them. And you can rest assured when you are down, we'll be there right away. So that's how they built their reputation for providing impeccable service. And obviously gain the customer's gratitude, loyalty, and the retention model kicked in. So that was very, very important. So now with troublesome machines, the single line gave the techs a chance to really hone in on a single product line. And in those days, every manufacturer didn't introduce 5 or 6, they introduced 2. Possibly 3 at most, but more than likely 2 in a given year. So it gave the techs a chance to get up on what all the problems were. They knew what parts to carry in terms of going once they got the call, and so forth and so on. So much more efficient. And obviously, dealers learned early on how to price maintenance agreements, and that became the most significant part of their business, along with the supplies. The machines basically worked out that you took care of the commissions and some contribution to overhead, but it was service and supplies that brought it home for the dealers. So now with the development of the technology and the increasing improvement of the performance of the machines, it became advantageous for dealers to look at a second line. Now, why would you need a second line? So really, Lynn, why would you want a second line? Think of it in terms of this way. Look at what your competition is selling in the area. And let's assume for a moment, HP is out there and is doing a pretty good job on MPS, and you're competing kind of heavily with HP in the MPS program. So take a look at an A4 line. Why not have, let's as a suggestion, if it's available, Kyocera. You bring on a line like Kyocera, who's got an excellent A4 line, to compete with HP. And you know something? I think you'll win a lot of business. Now, that's not saying the HP line is a bad line. It's not. I just happen to think the Kyocera line is better. That's just my opinion. So please, and I'm not an engineer and I don't bench test anything. That's one way to do it. So in a small sense, that's like taking on the second line for diversification. Now, you're already in MPS with Sharp because they do have A4 product and they do have A3, but candidly, the second line could be very beneficial to you there. What else could be something good to do? Well, you again, taking a look around the area and see what the competition is and determine what help do I need to sell more hardware. And then you have to take a look at those product lines that are available. And don't hesitate reaching out to a manufacturer and saying, look, I'm considering taking on a second line. Could you have a rep call on me so we can talk about it? And he can perhaps give me a better idea of what your line offers to me. Any manufacturer in their right mind will send the right person out to see that particular dealer. And don't think you're doing something disloyal to Sharp, because you're not. What you're trying to do is to better serve your customer. The better job you do in serving it to your customer, the better job you can do for Sharp. And I think they'd be the first ones to say that. Now, what are you going to lose? You ask, what's the downside? Well, I know that Sharp has a great program for dealers who dedicate to the MFP line. You'd have to take a look at the numbers and see, does this make sense? Am I going to gain enough new business with the second line that'll compensate what I'm giving up that Sharp gives me because I'm dedicated? So honestly, that's the only downside I see to it. And then to keep yourself attuned to new product introductions that have a lot of versatility. One of the things Konica Minolta did at their recent meeting, which I thought was very interesting, they had a presentation about their MFP line, which has a technology in it that only one other manufacturer has regarding security, and it's an amazing feature. And they believe this is the reason they're being so successful in the healthcare industry, because of this one advantage. You take on a line like that, and you're now able to do a better job with healthcare. That's, again, Lynn, please understand, these are my opinions. So that in essence, what you're doing, you're taking on a new line that's giving you something your current line isn't. And that's what's got to be in your mindset. And also, as new things come along, don't dismiss them. I know what you're thinking right now is about MFPs and the bulk of you, which is the bulk of your business. But think beyond that. Say, how can we do a better job of diversifying? We wish you luck. Keep us surprised.